Hi, this is Victoria Turco, the Pre-Law Advisor at Georgetown University's Career Education Center, and you're viewing Whether, When, and How to Apply to Law School. This presentation will cover several things. First, is law school right for you? Second, we'll discuss the law school application timeline. Next, we'll tackle how to choose the right school for you and how to submit the best possible applications. And we'll end with a summary of helpful resources. So first, is law school right for you? As Yogi Berra said, if you don't know where you're going, when you get there, you'll be lost. It sounds silly, but it is incredibly relevant to the decision whether or not to attend law school. Prospective law students tend to fall into one of three categories. First, there are those considering law schools. Perhaps it's one of several options on their possible career list. Number two, those committed to going to law school but have not considered the reasons why. Perhaps they come from a long line of attorneys and this is expected of them. Or perhaps they are not sure what else to do with their lives, so they've hit the default button and decided to go to law school. And finally, the last group are those students who are committed to going to law school and they have considered and articulated their reasons for doing so.
So let's start with the decision of why you would like to go to law school. It's really critical to ask yourself this given the amount of time and money you will have to invest in getting a law degree. It is incredibly expensive to attend law school. In fact, according to the Law School Admissions Council, the average amount of law school debt now hovers around $100,000. Oftentimes, it's more than that. So the slide in front of you right now recounts some recent employment statistics, which I think are incredibly important in any individual's decision whether or not to attend law school. I feel that it's important that that one goes into the entire law school process with eyes wide open as to what will be waiting on the other end. The economy is sputtering, that's certainly no secret, and the recession has hit the legal employment market hard. In old days, the legal profession was a little bit insulated, if you will, and a law degree was analogous to almost an insurance policy. You'd find a job, you'd find a way to make money. That's actually not the case anymore, sadly. Statistics from the law school graduating class nationwide of 2009 record an 88.3% employment rate. Now you might say to yourself, well, that's pretty good considering the economy being what it is and compared to other industries. Well, perhaps, but not so fast. There are some problems hidden within this number that I just want to make you aware of. Number one, this 88.3% employment rate doesn't tell you when these people are going to be employed. Many law firms have deferred start dates, so these individuals technically are employed, but they are not earning money. Number two, this statistic also includes within it temporary and part-time employment. So you might be, working as a temp attorney doing document productions for, 2 months and then you're out of work again. It's part of the statistics. And I think most importantly, this number also includes individuals who are employed at jobs not requiring a JD. So you might be employed theoretically, working as a secretary or as a waitress. You're technically employed, but not as a lawyer.
Do any of the following sound familiar to you? I don't know what to do with my life. I don't like the sight of blood. I failed my science classes. It seems like I could be a good lawyer. I think accounting's boring. I want to change the world. The education will ensure me a good job. It's versatile. I want the prestige. I want to earn a lot of money. I want a job in the real world. I want to learn how to think. And the ever popular in our current financial times, I want to postpone decision making about my future until the economy clears up. There's an epidemic of lawyer dissatisfaction out there. And interestingly enough, very often dissatisfaction is inversely proportional to salaries earned. Well, so why are many lawyers unhappy? Well, number one, the dehumanizing hours. Number two, the gap between lawyer intelligence and the nature of the work. Very often the work is not glamorous, the way that Hollywood portrays it to be. It very often can be boring and mundane. but obviously necessary. Law, by its nature, is adversarial, and the environment in which you practice it is adversarial as well. This can be exhausting to certain personality types. And finally, the golden handcuff syndrome. This is a situation where many students will go into law school and take a mountain of debt out with the hopes of someday perhaps working for, a public interest advocacy organization or what have you, but upon graduation find themselves saddled with so much debt that the only job they can afford to take to help them pay off that debt is a job at a corporate law firm, for example, that perhaps they're not terribly happy with, but they are forced to take so that they can get out from underneath the mountain of debt that they're in. Aspiring lawyers must determine if they will enjoy a career where these features are, to a degree, inevitable. They're just the facts of the scenario, and it doesn't look like it's going to change anytime soon. But on to the positives, and the fact that you're viewing this presentation suggests that you are already aware of the very, very many positive aspects to obtaining a law degree. First, it's incredibly versatile and valuable, and yes, it really does teach you to think in a logical and ordered way. It offers a wide range of career options. The list is really almost limitless, but some sample fields where lawyers are prominent are lobbying, politics, corporate compliance, risk management, corporate management, and consulting. So how to decide if law school is right for you? The first thing is to take advantage of the fact that career counseling is offered and speak to your career counselor and pre-law advisor. Second, speak with lawyers at all stages of their professional lives, from the newly minted to those ready to retire and everything in between. And try to speak to as many different types of lawyers as you possibly can, and ask them questions such as, would you do this again? Was it worth it? And review the recommended readings that you can get from your pre-law advisor. So what to expect from your first year? Pretty much regardless of where you attend law school, first year is very, very similar. First year is pretty much the same. Depending upon the size of the institution, you will be assigned a section if it's a large institution, and you will travel with that section. You will be given assigned seats, and you will be told when and where to go to class. Typical first year subjects include torts, property, civil procedure, criminal law, contracts, legal research and writing, and moot court. Constitutional law is either part of the first or the second year required curriculum, depending upon the institution you attend. You'll take it, it's just a question of when. Moot court, for those of you who aren't familiar with it, is an assigned short course where you are given usually a partner and you are given a legal problem to research and write about. You have to advocate on a specific side. You will turn in your written documentation and you will argue before a moot court panel.
So now what you're looking at is a sample calendar, timeline, if you will, for applying to law school as a junior right before the end of your junior year. We're going to start February. You can go ahead and register for the LSAT. I know that sounds early to some people, but in years past, particularly in popular test-taking centers like Washington, D.C., for example, test centers fill up fast. So if you want your first choice of a test center, you can go ahead and register early. Between March and June, you can study for the LSAT. You'll take the LSAT in June, right after your junior year, and you'll receive your LSAT score online within 3 weeks of the test date. So you'll have it by the beginning of July. Between August and September, you can register with the Credential Assembly Service. That's if you haven't already registered when you went ahead and registered for the LSAT, because it's, again, on the LSAC website. So very often people will kill two birds with one stone. But if you haven't done that, make sure you go ahead and do that. August and September, research law schools, obtain applications, financial aid information. Caveat, a lot of law schools won't put up their applications for the next cycle until September. And then once you get back to campus, late August, early September, you can have your transcript sent to the Credential Assembly Service for them to record.
Talk to people who will write your letters of recommendation. Try to do this as soon as practicable upon returning to campus. The professors will be inundated with requests for letters of recommendation, so the earlier you get your name in the queue, the better. Write your personal statement in September. Attend a law school forum. There is generally one held in the DC area every fall. Also, the Career Center sponsors law school information sessions. They're always a good resource. Fill out your applications between September and October. Send in your applications with the goal of trying to have them in by Thanksgiving. Make sure your application files are complete, and then in the spring semester in January, you can file for financial aid.